Well, good evening and welcome to Porch Talk. This is a brand new show. I'm Paul Marino.
And I'm Ed Morandi, and this is Phil. Phil was a leftover from Robert Moulton and I's show. Let's talk about it.
Yes. And then when we moved into this studio and they started using the virtual sets, Phil got relegated to the shelf. And so we both thought it was time. Phil came out and joined us again.
Yes.
Good old Phil.
As long as he behaves, he's okay.
Yes. Now, Porch Talk, in case you're wondering what this is all about, this is a live call-in show. So if you have a comment, give us a call at 664-4408. We are willing to talk about practically anything except politics. We want to talk about positive things that are happening in the Berkshires.
The title of the show is Porch Talk. And if you're as old as I am, there's not a lot of people out there that are, that every house in North Adams used to have a porch. And there's where all the gossip took place about the neighborhood, the schools, and everything else. And it was just it was a nice get-together for the families during that era. So we're going to try and talk about good things that are going on. It may drift into politics a little bit, but we're going to try and stay away from that. We're going to try and stay away from all the, I can't say bad things that are going on in North Adams, but some of the things that have been going on, the TVs like Channel 10 and Channel 13, about North Adams being the head of this, the best or the worst in the state. Hey, I'm happy to live here. I don't know about you people, but
well, I certainly am. I don't want to live anywhere else. Now, I have a little history quiz for you if you're interested. Now, the picture behind us is, of course, Hillside Cemetery. That photo was taken circa 1895, and I put it up in honor of our guest, Roger Urban, who seems to have chickened out because it's so cold out there. What a wimp.
Yes. Well, Roger, Thursday morning at the retirees, Northern Berkshire Retirees Club, I asked Roger if he would like to be on, and I guess he had already called you and said he'd be on, and he wanted to do something here, and he wanted to say how Hillside is progressing, and now they're working on that up this way, that hill right there going up, and they are looking for a four-wheel vehicle, a used one, to loan to them, so that they can haul up bags of cement to fix the tombstones that are up on top. And he's got a good crew there. He's got Larry Burdick and Jimmy Roberts and Paul, the name slipped me. Did you get this all? When you get this all, you have an excuse.
Yeah, I'm getting there myself.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that crew that's with him are doing excellent work over there, and they've been, fixing it up. They've been putting the signs up. They've been straightening up the ones that have fallen over. It's a tough, tedious, heavy job. So if you're out there and you got something like a lawn tractor without the grass cutter on the bottom, or if you have a four-wheel.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're thinking along the lines of one of those small recreational vehicles.
Yeah, small RV type things that they could throw bags of cement in the back and bring it up and do the fixing up on the mountain. All right.
And believe me, they don't call it Suicide Hill for laughs.
Oh, I've been up there a couple times. I first started working when Roger...
No, I'm sorry, not Suicide Hill.
Cardiac
Hill.
Cardiac Hill. I started working when they started doing it, and there was a good group that went over there. The students from MCLA, some of the prisoners were over there working, some of the city workers were over there when they cleared the brush out. They had the trucks. The loads and loads of scrap went to the landfill. Unfortunately, I'm wearing a brace now, and I couldn't get back down on my knees to do any work if I wanted to. So I had to give it up, but I'm still behind them 100%. And the quiz question is what?
Well, the quiz question, I need to start with some background information. Hillside Cemetery is, of course, the oldest municipal cemetery in North Adams. The first burial was in 1798, and it took place up at the top of the hill there. in that lot that has the fence around it in the photo. But it is the second oldest existing cemetery and the third oldest overall. So the question, if anyone thinks you know the answer, what is the other existing cemetery that's older, and where is it? And what's the third one, the one that would be oldest overall?
Okay, now I know one of the answers, and I'm exempt, you said.
Yes,
but I know one of the answers.
So.
Okay.
And I know both of them.
Okay, and before you go to your Google and look it up on the computer, if those that know it, because that really gets me sometimes. You're talking with somebody and say, I think that show there had Cary Grant or maybe it was Robert Redford on it. No, it was Cary Grant, you know, and I'm going, what's the matter, you know? I don't, right away.
Well, I don't think the answers are going to be found on Google.
Google? Ah, okay. Let me write one down and just tell me
All
if it
right.
is, okay?
Now, we are going to be on the air until 7 o'clock, so you have until roughly 6:55 to call in if you think you know the answer. 664-4408. Please give us a call, and give us a call if you have anything you want to talk about. If you have announcements to make, by all means, give us a call. And speaking of announcements, do you want me to wait until you're finished?
No, go ahead.
All right. So I have some announcements to make. This month, the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition is having its monthly forum. If you've never been to one of the coalition forums, do yourself a favor and go. They are fabulous. In fact, I have two stories about what makes them so fabulous. One is when I was a teenager, I was in the MYF, Methodist Youth Fellowship.
Oh, okay.
Methodist Youth Fellowship. And one evening we went over to the Williamstown Methodist Church for some program there. We watched a film, and then there was a discussion going on. And I was hearing a lot of, well, we have to do more of this. Oh, yes, you're right. And we have to do more of that. And we have to do this and that and the other thing. And every time I raised my hand to speak, the minister would say, Paul, let the adults talk. Now, what I had to say might have been as stupid as the day is long, but then again, maybe it wasn't. What I wanted to say was, well, why aren't we doing these things? Why are we just sitting here talking about it? Why aren't we doing it? Well, what this relates to with the coalition is, the coalition is very inclusive, and anyone who shows up, they want to hear what you have to say, especially youth. They want to hear what youth in the community have to say about their own wants and needs. And in fact, this month, it's actually going to be led by youth in the community. The other story I have, the second half of that is that when something is discussed at the coalition, you may rest assured that the conversation doesn't stop at the end of the forum. They will get people together who were there and other people in the community who want to do something about this, and the discussion will continue in the coalition office, and eventually something will happen. Yes, you're right.
Of course.
Good for you. Point for you.
I used to play there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Back in 1740.
I never realized you were a goat.
Yes, I was.
Yes, now you're an old goat.
I'm an old goat.
And so am I.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, so the Martin Luther King Day festivities started as part of that. The community wanted to do something to honor Martin Luther King Jr., and the coalition put their heads together and came up with the Martin Luther King Day, which started in the YMCA graduated to St. John's Episcopal Church, graduated to the Baptist Church, and is now taking place in MCLA every year.
And who is the head of that? Who's the
I believe of the coalition or of Martin Luther King?
No,
it was Alba Shevkin.
He retired.
He was the starter.
Yes.
He was the one who started it. He retired after 24 years. And now Amber Besaw is the president. Now, another thing that came out of the coalition is the skate park. Young people in North Adams wanted a skate park, and the coalition worked with the mayor and the city and got it to happen.
You know, and I got to eat a little crow. Not you, Phil, but I got to eat a little crow because...
Well, he's a pheasant.
That's right, too. I was actually against the skate park because I thought it would bring in the criminal elements and so forth. And I didn't realize, unbeknownst to me, there was that many young adults and youngsters in North Adams who have skateboards. Because we never had a skateboard when we were young. You know, we had a bicycle, or we stole somebody's bicycle and used it. But the skateboard park, when I went by it during the summer, there was a lot of people using it. And I expected something drastic to happen there. Somebody sued the city or something, but I noticed that the majority of the kids that were using it had helmets on, elbow pads, knee pads. They were well equipped. So I'm sorry, I was against it, but I look at it now, and if it keeps going the way it did this past year, that's a good thing. Same way with the, what are they going to call it, the spray park? The spray park they're going to put in down there? It's not a wading pool like they used to have. No, down on Kern Highway, down on Knoll Field.
That I don't know. I don't remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I think they went before the council or before the planning board, and they're going to put a sprinkler park or something where kids can run through sprinklers, the water and everything else. Yeah, again, you know, I'm looking at it like, oh, I hope we don't get a lot of liability on that there. But I'm sure the new mayor has been looking into this and will.
Yeah, and if it takes place on grass, there isn't much that can happen.
No.
By accident.
No.
Now, another thing that came out of the community coalition was the UNO Community Center.
And Shirley Davis is involved
Shirley
in
Davis spearheaded that.
Spearheaded it, right.
Back when Barrett was mayor, she was very unhappy with the state of her neighborhood and watching things deteriorating and how neighbors didn't get along the way they used to.
Well, actually, where Shirley's house was, where Bob grew up, it was in a bad neighborhood. It wasn't in a bad neighborhood when they moved there, and they started their but then it turned, okay? And there was a criminal elements. There was opioids involved. There was marijuana involved, and everything else. And it did turn bad. And she kind of got together with the neighbors and...
Well, she started by going to Mayor Barrett, who was a friend of hers, and she told him what she was upset about and what she would like to see happen. He sent her to see Al Bashevkin. And Al managed to put her in touch with people who could help her, and the coalition continued helping her, and she organized the United Neighborhood Organization, which actually recreated the neighborhood of her youth.
Well, her youth was on State Street, right across from Knollfield Complex.
Yeah, but the thing is, she recreated that type of neighborhood.
The atmosphere.
Yeah, that atmosphere.
Yes.
And then she had the idea of, I think it was her idea, to have a community center. And of course, that takes a lot of work to get done. But again, she went to the coalition, and the coalition helped her get it established. And today, employees of the coalition staff it. So getting back to the announcement that I was making about the Community Coalition's monthly forum, it's typically held on a Friday, but this month it's going to be a Monday, February 26th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Green at 87 Main Street in North Adams. If you want information about it, you can give them a call at the Coalition office, 663-7588. And again, if you've never been to Coalition Forum, you owe it to yourself to go to at least one. And I think once you go to one, you're going to be hooked, and you're going to want to go to as many as you possibly can. That's the way I started going to them. You know, I went there and I got hooked. I can't go to this one because I'm working when that's happening, but over the past couple years, now that Amber is in charge, they're looking at ways to make it even more inclusive. So they're having some of their forums in the evening so people who can't be there during the day can come.
Very good.
And that's what's happening with this one. Oh, the other story I meant to tell you about the Coalition was a couple of years ago, I was there, and when it came to the announcements, a woman stood up and announced that she was homeless, and she had just lost her home and was at her wit's end, and she was advised to go to the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition, and she was begging for help, and the representatives of a half a dozen organizations that were there said, "See me at the break," which comes right after the announcements.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so half a dozen organizations that could provide her with assistance were on her during the break.
Very good.
Yeah, and this is what the Coalition does for the community. Now, speaking of other things that are happening in the community, how many of us love to play with Legos?
They were way later than my time, but my son had them and my daughters had them, and they loved them. And I've been in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to a Lego museum, which has animals like you wouldn't believe: giraffes, elephants, rhinoceros, hippopotami.
I've seen some photos of a car made from Legos.
From Legos, yes.
With a Lego engine. Have no idea how it's supposed to work.
Well, maybe it runs on, you know.
Well, the reason I'm bringing that up.
Why, where is there one? What's going on with the Lego?
Well, the Legos, there is a free Lego play group for families with children ages 4 to 12. I think if we put a 12 on your head like a halo, we could probably get you in there.
I doubt it. I doubt it. No, I've never seen a 12-year-old this big.
Well, you never know. They do grow them big nowadays.
Yes.
At any rate, these are happening at the North Adams Public Library on Thursday, February 8 from 6 to 7 p.m. and Thursday, February 22 from 6 to 7 p.m. And again, this is a free Lego playgroup. It's co-sponsored by the North Adams Public Library and the Family Center, which is one of the organizations under the umbrella of oh, drat, the daycare center there.
Breen?
No, the one
North
in
Adams daycare, adult daycare center?
No, the one for children.
At Haskins.
Yes,
Haskins School.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Well,
I
at
don't
any
know what
rate,
the name of it is, but it's at Haskins
Child
School.
Care of the Berkshires.
That's it.
Didn't think I'd remember that, did you?
No, without taking out your and looking it up. I like that.
Well, all right, good. Yeah, sometimes my brain does cooperate, but not too often. All right, so they are one of the organizations under the umbrella of Child Care of the Berkshires. And this is another terrific organization. They have play groups for children of all ages, right down to babies. You know, parents can bring in their babies and they can play with their parents and with other babies. They have workshops for parents that they provide transportation for. So if you don't have a car, you can still get to them. They often serve dinner at them so that you don't have to miss a meal. And they provide childcare on site.
Yes, my mother-in-law used to work there as a chef. She did the cooking for them when they first started out, and a lot of our children's toys went there. When they outgrew something, you know, that they don't want to play with any longer, they went down there. Blocks, cardboard blocks and stuff like that, a dollhouse and everything else went down to the child, well, back then, yeah, it was still child care of the Berkshires. And we used to stop in once in a while. My wife and I, when our children were maybe 12, 14 years old, we used to stop in and look at the little kids and say, remember when? Yeah, a long time ago. So no one's called in yet about the cemetery. I must win the prize.
Well, you win half of it because you do have the right answer.
I don't know what the name of the street is, but I know where it is.
Oh, all right. You can write it down and I'll see. So just a reminder to the person who was watching, I hope it's one person anyway.
My wife's out there watching.
I guess she's pretending the phone doesn't work tonight. So at any rate, the question is, Hillside Cemetery, pictured behind us, is North Adams' oldest municipal cemetery. First burial was 1798. It's the second oldest existing cemetery and the third oldest overall in North Adams. Where is the oldest existing cemetery and where, nope.
No, it's not that one up there?
Nope.
There is one up there, though.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
That's the Ahab and Ruth Hill Cemetery.
That's what I couldn't think of. That was a family cemetery.
Yeah, it still is.
Still is?
Yeah, it's on private property, but they have access to it.
Okay.
And as far as I know, they're still burying people up there.
Now, you're talking about the oldest cemetery in the area.
No, the oldest cemetery in North Adams.
Well, now we have to say Hillside.
Nope. No, as I just said.
Well,
now,
wait a minute.
Ed wasn't paying attention, so he gets a slap on the wrist.
Wait a minute now. Those cemeteries were in Adams until they split. We get technical here, folks. Oh no, I know what he means. And my second guess was wrong. So I'm still at 50%.
Oh, no, I think we have a phone call coming in.
I see Emily. Emily's on the phone. Maybe she's calling out for pizzas for us. Hey,
Gosh, I hope so. I didn't have supper tonight.
While you're out there, folks, I was going to do this, unbeknownst to...
I think Roger is on the phone.
Hello, Roger.
Yes.
Hello, Roger.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm sorry I couldn't come in today, but I managed to come down with the flu.
Oh, some people will take any excuse.
I told you Thursday, when the flu flies, flee. How's that one?
Yeah, well, I'm more upset over the fact that he's on the phone. Didn't his mother ever teach him to use a chair?
Oh. I didn't even hear a word you said, Paul. I'm sorry.
Now you know what I'm putting up with, Roger.
I'm not sure it's worth repeating, really.
That's mean.
Well, we're sorry you got the flu, Roger. I mean, I hope it's not contagious because I was with you yesterday morning.
Probably not.
Yeah, so.
Louise says she hopes it isn't either.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God, we're all over.
All right, I don't want to keep you talking too much. I did mention that what you were looking for the cemetery to use to bring the bags of cement up the top of Cardiac Hill.
Yeah.
And We're still looking around the area to see if we can find one for you. And that was a cart, ATV
Yeah.
or something, a lawn tractor with a cart on the back without the lawnmower on it to
Yeah.
haul up the heavy bags up the Cardiac Hill.
Yeah, we don't need a lawnmower part of it.
So maybe somebody will call in or call you at your house and
that would
you'll
be
come
nice.
across one.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay,
Thank you,
go have
Roger.
some chicken soup. No pheasant soup.
Not pheasant
No,
soup.
chicken soup.
Pheasant soup is not allowed.
No. All right, now we're back
So
to...
where were we?
I don't know, I got a whole bunch of stuff written down here.
All right, so let me get to another announcement. This is the third one I've got. Actually, I had a bunch of them, but these are the only three that I managed to write down. The Family Place, which is another offshoot of the Community Coalition, is having a workshop in Effective Discipline 101, Introduction to the 1, 2, 3 Magic Disciplines Strategy. This is for, what? Hello? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Who's that out there? I can't see.
That's Jane White.
Who?
Jane White.
I can't see that far.
Well, she's in the window there.
I see that, but I can't. I can't
Well,
make you out.
if you're watching
the
at
lights.
home, thank goodness you can't see what we're seeing.
She says she feels sorry for you. I think I know which one she means.
Thank you. Well, you know, originally I wanted to get a white beard and put it on so we'd be like, but then everybody
So
would be
we'd
calling
match.
in and saying, you know, play this song. They
Did
think
you
we're
have
Z-
him cloned?
No, they would be calling in saying, play this song. They think we're ZZ Top.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, go ahead.
Excellent
I won't
thought.
interrupt you again for another minute.
All right, and I hope I don't get any interruptions from the control room unless it's an actual phone call. So, as I said, the Family Place is having a free workshop for parents of children. I think it's birth to 12 years old. Effective Discipline 101, Introduction to the 1, 2, 3 Discipline, Magic Discipline Strategy. That's going to be Monday, February 26, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in the Family Place, 61 Main Street, Suite 208, here in North Adams. Child care is available on site, as well as transportation. You need to register by February 19th, and the number to call is 663-7588. That's the coalition's main office number, and they will refer you to the right person.
Do you happen to know what effective discipline is? Is that a sit down or you won't get it? Sit down or you won't get it? I said sit down or you won't get it. Sit down or you won't get it. Is it one of them, or is it, did they pass out rulers? No.
I really don't know, but I don't believe they're disciplining children that way anymore.
No?
No, they believe in positive discipline.
And what happens?
Well, apparently you get happier kids who are well behaved.
Well, I have to disagree a little bit on that because when I was growing up and going to school, up until the 8th grade and beyond the 8th grade, you never answered the teacher back. You never misbehaved in class because when you got home, they already knew about it, and you were put someplace to sit down. And of course, I never missed supper, but you know, they did that. They did those sort of things back then.
Oh yeah,
A
I
lot of us-
have a wonderful story along those lines that I got from my father. He and his brother Jimmy used to go to the old State Street School, which of course was not on State Street. It's on the corner of Hooker and Francis.
That's where I grew up. That's my second house I lived in.
Oh, there you go.
From 2 to 22, that's where I lived.
Oh, cool beans. So at that time, what's now Joe Wolf Field was a dump, a sort of unsanitary landfill, if you will. And some of the older boys had built a raft. Of course, the river was not in chutes at that time. So they arrived early for school, and one of the older boys offered them a ride on the raft. They accepted their first mistake. They were floating down the river, and they passed under a bridge where their teacher was walking overhead, and they made their second mistake. "Oh, hi, Mrs. So-and-so." And she gave them a glare. Well, then they ran into white water. I would give worlds to know where that was, but the older boy got scared, told them to lie down on the raft, and he worked it over to the shore where the truant officer was waiting.
Oh, gosh.
He grabbed the older boy by the ear and threw him into the back seat. My father and his brother didn't need any further encouragement than that. They got in and were taken to the school, where the teacher scolded them, "You naughty boys, you were playing hooky. Now go home," which of course was the equivalent of a death sentence.
That's what I said.
Here's the next mistake. The older boy said, "Well, why do we have to go home? Why don't we go up on Coca-Cola Ledge? We'll wait until the kids come out, and then we'll go home. No one will be the wiser." So that's what they did. When the kids came out of the school, off they went home, never stopping to think the kids were just coming out for recess. So they got home. My grandmother said, "What's wrong?" "Oh, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong." "Yeah, are you sure?" "Yeah, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong." Well, finally, when the other kids did get home from school, one of the girls told her what had happened. So she started wailing on them. And about the time that she ran out of steam, Grandpa Marino got home, and he took over where she left off.
Aha.
And he didn't have asthma, so he kept it going for a good long time. And of course, the thing that I wondered when I heard this story was, didn't anyone ever ask you for your side? No.
No.
Teacher didn't want to know. Parents didn't want to know.
No, never happened like that. Never happened like that. Whatever the teacher said was gospel, no matter what. I had a friend who got me in more trouble in high school simply by doing this. Paul. And he would say it. No, he would go, "Paul." The teacher would look at me and say, "Stop it." I didn't do nothing. "Paul." I said, "Stop it." It wasn't me. Who was it? Now, growing up in an Italian neighborhood, you never fingered somebody said it was Paul saying it, because you know how those Italians were. Mm-hmm. So you never mentioned it. Talking about Italians, are you all done with yours?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Emily, can you?
No, she can't zoom in.
in?
Well,
Okay.
maybe she can with the robotic.
With the robotics?
The robotic camera.
Oh, the little camera that's in my way. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Ooh.
she's moving it. She's moving it.
Oh, now I wish you could see what we're seeing. Watching that camera move all by its lonesome.
Come in. All right. This is the insignia here is for the Italian. That's it. That's the sister city emblem, and that's where John Barrett started it back in 2005 when my first trip with Dr. John Moreci, and Dr. John Moreci, the late Dr. John Moreci, the late Mary Rosasco, and myself, along, I believe Tommy Leonasia was there, that we signed a declamation to form a sister city. Proclamation, you're right. A proclamation to join the two cities. And the reason we did that was because most of the Italians who lived on Ward 7, which was old Ward 7, which was over the Hadley Bridge going south on Route 8, most of the Italians there, most of them came from the area of Lake Garda and the cities of Tremosine. And I've been going back since 2005. And I talked to the present mayor the other day, and we're going to continue this probably forever. So we have a sister city committee here, which includes myself and Police Director Michael Casalio, and Marie Harpin is there. And now, not the council person, but her mother.
Yes.
Okay, she was there with me. And Marie, the counselor, was there with us also. She was there one year with her son. And we just fell in love with the area. It's beautiful. You helped me once put a show on about the area. We'll probably do another one later on, probably around April or May before we leave. So I just want to warn people, we're going to do it again. It's a warning,
All right.
okay? You know what I miss here? A time.
It's coming. It's only 6:36 by my watch, so in a few minutes we'll start getting time
The
cues.
time down there, the time machine. H.G. Wells.
Yes. Now, I think one reason we're not getting any calls is because we're not off the wall enough. Look, we're being watched.
Hup! That light just went out. Oh, that one went out. That's my number. The first time I did the show with Bob, I was...
Hide me, Phil. Hide me.
Phil, they'll not only be calling in, you know what I mean? They'll be sending them with the white coats, the white jackets.
And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. It's dangerous to call things to my mind.
I know it, I know it. You have a dangerous mind.
So we are still waiting for someone to call in. Out of pity, please give us a call. Get us to shut up for a while. 664-4408. Whether you have an announcement or a suggestion for our show, such as put an end to it, we'll listen to that.
Well, we won't do it, but we'll listen to it.
I'm not proud. I don't know about you, but I'm not.
We won't give it up just on hearsay, but I mean, I'm willing to do some more shows till the audience picks up. We'll do some more shows.
If you think you have an answer to the history quiz, which again is Hillside Cemetery is the oldest municipal cemetery in North Adams. And if you've come on my Hillside Walk, then you have the answers to these questions.
This one's not older?
It is older,
But it's not a municipal. Gotcha.
No, but it's not the oldest cemetery.
But it is older than Hillside.
Yes.
Okay. The second, or this is the second oldest?
Second oldest overall.
Second. Okay.
So, as I was saying, oh my God, there's a tree growing out of my head. That's better. Okay, so Hillside Cemetery is the oldest municipal cemetery in North Adams. First burial was 1798. It's the second oldest existing cemetery and third oldest overall. What and where are the other two? Please give us a call, 664-4408. You still have about 20 minutes.
And the prize is a trip to Italy via bus.
Yes, well, my version of the trip is I come over to your house and trip you as you're coming down your front steps.
Oh, okay. All right. But I thought it was a bus.
But if you'd rather settle for just the bragging rights of knowing the answer to this ridiculously obscure question, you can have that instead.
So it is not a free bus trip to Italy.
That's right.
Okay. All right. When the Italians from Tremosine came over to visit us, they wanted to tour Ward 7. And Mayor Barrett allowed me to take a trolley when we had the trolleys. And I think David Chennai drove it. And when we got over the overpass, I started naming all the families that lived there. And they asked me, and I had to go through a translator back then. I still do some of the time. How do you know all the families? How? And I said, between my cousin Charlie DeRocher, whose mother was a Mirandi, my brother and I, we had that whole area as a paper route. And we knew.
Oh, we've got another phone call coming in.
I think.
Oh, it's Jane.
Jane calling in. We knew all the family there, and it was unbelievable the amount of people, the families that
And we have
were
a call. Good evening and welcome to Porch Talk.
Yes, yes.
Jane, go out in the lobby.
Go out in the lobby, Jane.
What?
Go out in the lobby
You're
and
getting
stay in the lobby.
You're getting feedback here.
Okay, stay out of the lobby.
No, in the lobby.
In the lobby. Okay.
Oh,
You see, I'm
God.
terrible. But it's the other one is Congressional Cemetery in the Hotchkiss Crossroads.
The Congressional Cemetery, close but no cigar.
Oh man! And I went on your walks too, and I didn't learn anything. But it's not your fault. It's me. It goes
I
in
know.
one ear and out the other.
At this point, I'm willing to concede that one. It's not the Congressional Cemetery, it's the Congregational Cemetery.
Oh, Congregational.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now, do you have any
Oh, my
other
God.
questions, Jane?
Do I have a question?
Yes.
How did you get on that show? I mean, do they know anything about you?
I'm sorry, Jane, we only want questions about farming. Click. No, actually, I got on this show because when Bob Moulton was talking about stopping...
Our show.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Mike Putnam suggested to me that Ed and I could do a show.
Oh, that's cool.
And I liked the idea, so I approached Ed with the idea, and he agreed it was a neat idea, so
It's
here we
something-
are.
It's something necessary for the city.
And
Yes.
it's all stuff about North Adams.
Yeah, well, we want to talk about good things that are happening. Like, I understand, Jane, that your neighbors are planning a Jane White burning in the near future.
Yes, they are.
Oh,
And
good. You can trust me, Jane. I'll be there.
It's going to be exciting. I'm going to do a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted that so bad. I told them they'd have to pay me extra for the screaming, and they were a little miffed about it. But then I said, oh, well, then I won't do it. And then they said, no, you have to do it. You
Yeah,
have to scream.
I'm
And I
putting
said,
up the money
"No."
myself to pay for the screaming.
Yes. So there's going to be tons of screaming, a lot of smelly burning stuff, and it's going to be wonderful. Everybody should be there.
Oh,
It
yes.
really is. It's an exciting time.
Ed, don't you have like 50 extended family members or 100 you could bring along?
I've got a whole bunch of
Yes,
family
yes,
members.
I have a lot of them. I have a
Okay.
lot of them.
And-
And they're planning on being there too.
Yes, and we'll have torches and pitchforks for
I
everybody.
know, it's just going to be wonderful. I don't know how anybody would want to miss it. You know, it's an exciting time for all.
And
Yes, be
Jane,
there.
just for your information, and Paul I did get the Congo Cemetery as my guest because, and only because, in the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, that was our hangout. That's where we,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we went up there and we discovered I think there's 2 Indians, sorry, I said Indians. There's 2 Native Americans buried there. I believe.
Well,
Unless you
I've
took 'em
heard
away.
that. No, I've heard that, but I don't know of any documentation on that.
Well, there was a stone there with a name on it, and it was a Native American name. And the way
Wow.
things disappear in North Adams, it's a no wonder it's not there anymore. Once somebody found out it was there, they probably lifted it and sold it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
who knows?
That's
I remember when Al Bashand did his 5-hour history of North Adams. He was walking around in there and he said, pointed at something, these are Indian graves. Well, how do you know? I mean, they were raw slabs of stone. You know, they were not carved stones. They were just set up there. And was he assuming that they were Indian graves?
I don't know.
Or,
I don't know, but this was way before, and I'm going to figure out the date it was because I was in the 5th grade. No, they'll find out how old I am if I do that. It was.
Yeah, wow.
It was.
It's interesting to find that out.
I know
and
it.
do a
but
little research
I know
on
it.
that.
I know you got one of them things you look on and say Google it.
Yeah, you Google it.
Google it, right? It was.
Yeah.
It was probably around 1950, 51 when we were playing down there, and there was a stone there that had a native markings on it, and
Yeah. Well, you never know because my daughter-in-law is Hawaiian, and I went to Hawaii to go to my son's wedding, and we were in a certain part that was Hawaiian lands, and we had to dig our way through the woods, but her great-grandmother and her grandmother's headstones are deep in, and it's all overgrown, and you wouldn't think of going out there to find a grave, but they were there.
yes.
So you never know. You never know.
And I can remember. I can remember back when we were my wife and I were first married. We took a bus trip, and we went to Harmon Castle, out near Rockport, Mass.
Yeah.
Okay, and we went through there, and there was all Italian tombstones lined up along one place.
Wow.
And I said, "Wow, what a thief!"
Yeah.
Well, little did I know that he bought all these, because then in 2005, when I started going to Italy, I found out that most of the cemeteries there are overcrowded. So what they do over there is, there's no perpetual care for you.
Yeah.
You get buried there, you have a 40-year mortgage on the land. If you don't pay it again in 40 years, they take your tombstone out, they dig your bones up, put them in the catacombs.
No.
or
Yes.
tunnel house.
Yes, or they make chicken soup with it, and then they
Well, that sounds delicious.
and then they sell it again to the next person. So
yeah.
that's why you
yeah.
see all these what do they call
Yeah,
catacombs?
'cause you never
Yeah.
know, and it makes it hard for people to do research
You know,
and find these people.
this show here is also not only entertaining, but we provide a lot of information.
Yes,
out
we
there.
do.
Yeah. Yes, very interesting information.
Now,
But,
Jane,
you know,
Don't
Jane?
run
Yes.
away, Jane, because I want to meet you after the show.
Oh, no, please run away,
No,
Jane.
I want to meet you after
I'm
the
not going to
show.
run away. I'll meet you afterwards.
Well, Jane,
Okay.
Jane, how about if you hang up? We have 10 minutes left, and
Okay,
we'd like to
tell
hear
other
from
people
somebody
to
else.
call. Okay, I know. I always get that.
That's what that
So,
button's
okay.
for.
Yes.
Goodbye.
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 Bye. We used to call that the Cardamino button. I was here last night, and he was on, and looked like he had a good show. Mm-hmm. I wanted to stop in, but I didn't want to disrupt him, because we go way back. I mean,
Now, let me ask you, the grave there that you say had Native American markings on it, was the name on it CPAT?
I don't know. I don't remember back that far. CPAT?
Yes.
I can't recall. I can't recall everything back there. You know, that's quite a little bit of trivia there to remember something like that. Why, what was that?
Well, that was, until a few years ago, the oldest known marker there, 1792. However, when the Boy Scouts went in and cleared the brush out,
Right.
and you could see what the cemetery actually looked like, they uncovered a stone that dated to the 1780s. So that is now the oldest known stone in that cemetery.
The cemetery, yeah.
So that still leaves us one question that if there's anyone out there who thinks he knows the answer, what is the oldest cemetery in North Adams, which I should add does not exist anymore.
Oh, wow.
So if it existed, it would be the oldest cemetery in North Adams.
When did it go out of existence? And what did they do with the people that were there? Oh, I know. Zip it up, that's it, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And that was, and there was the oldest cemetery?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll give you a hint.
No, there.
No, not you. No.
Again, I was wrong.
Goodness gracious. I will give you a hint. The very first burial in this particular cemetery was in the 1740s. Where was that cemetery? That's the question. You have about 5 minutes left to answer.
And you're going to give us the answer before we go
Oh,
off the
yes,
air. Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
So where in Italy is your family from?
Actually, my grandfather was born in Tremosine, along with my grandmother, Morandi. All right. My grandfather was born in Musio, Tremosine. My grandmother was born in Pieve, Tremosine, which are about 4 miles apart. Now, Tremosine is made up of 18 franzoni, which were fractions. In Italian, franzoni is a fraction. 18 little hamlets and towns, some of them like Sei Castello, which is 6 castles in English, actually had 6 houses. There's some of them that had Volantino, Volane, Campione, which was actually on Lake Garda. They all belong to this Tremosine. And some of the names of the people whose families come from that area, and I'm going all of Lake Garda area, and there's a lot of people that I don't know of, but I'm including Riva, Limone, Marchesine, De Cinsano, Simonone. And I'm going to start off, and I'm going to read this list. It'll only take me 5 days. There was, from Tremosine, there was the Morandis, the Leonagios, the Mezzanatis, the Angelinis, the Faustinis, the Gerardis, the Moracis, the Facinis, the Dalò, the Varesquis, the Casalios, the Araghinis, the Franzonis. Then around the area, there was the Bonas, the Benedettis, the Rigaglio, Carli, the Chalanas, the Andriatas, the Sapulas, the Coppettas, the Franceschis, the Donati, the Agnolis, the Sagalas, and the Malases. They all came from that area there. And those are the names that were in North Adams. They all came here for work from the 1850s and 60s. They all came here because the infrastructure over in Italy was deteriorating. The woolen mill that they had there in the 1820s was wiped out by a flood. And they were on the lake, but there was a lake up above them that overspilled and wiped the mill out. So between that and between growing the silk, they used to have silk farms there with the little cocoons, and they used to do all the silk stuff. All that was passé, and they had nothing going on over there, so the people came to this country to get a better life, of course. But now they had a co-op where the priest, Monsignor Giannini, actually bought cows for people so they could start a cheese factory, and it's one of the biggest ones in the area up there. And I actually go there every year, not to meet the people, but to eat the cheese. It's great. I'll bring you back a piece this year.
Oh, thank you.
I bring you if we're still on the air. So don't count on it. We got what, 4 minutes left?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 minutes. You know, and I always, when I did the first show with Bob, we started off as a half hour, and then I think it was Dave said, or Mike said, you know, why don't you guys do an hour, because we had like 5 phone calls waiting for us, so we went into an hour, and we said, we'll never get an hour done. But what do you have to say? And I had my little book here, and I said, I only got 2 things, okay? And we did an hour show, and we could have done an hour and a half show, and I talked to Bob. When was it, last night? Wednesday night. I was at an ambulance service meeting with Bob, and I said, when are you going to get back on the air? And he says, people have been asking me. I run into people in City Hall, people downtown to say, how come you guys gave the show up? And I said, after Bob did it for what, 15 years or so?
Yeah, something
He wanted
like
to take
that.
a break. He wanted to take a year's break. He wanted to get away from it for a while. And then he says, I may be back. But if he does come back, I'll still do a show with you. It'll be Tuesday and Friday. And then
Oh, thank you. You're so
And
sweet.
then if I can get Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Now, we
sign
are
the
past the
contract.
point that you can call in with the answer, so I'm going to give you the answer. Although you said aha, so what is your answer to the very oldest cemetery in North Adams?
is the Congregational Church Cemetery on Hodges Cross Road, up on the hillside across from the railroad tracks.
Now, that's the oldest existing.
The oldest existing.
What is the one that would be older than that?
I
if
thought it
it's
was
so-
the Cold Grove Cemetery where the Cold Grove School is, but it's
Nope.
not. Then I said, the one up on Vesey Street, when you go beyond Vesey Street up there, and you said,
not
no,
that
it's
one.
not that. So I had 3 guesses. I got 1 right, 33 and a third % right. That was my average in high school, 33 and
Oh.
yeah. What's the oldest one?
Fort Massachusetts.
Did they
It was
actually
built-
bury somebody there?
Yes, they did. The very first burial there was Elisha Nims, who was shot in the back with a French musket ball I think it was a few weeks before the siege began.
Right. I didn't know they buried him there.
He died of his injuries, was buried there, and when when Professor Perry from Williams College came over to do a dig, they found his grave, took his skeleton and headstone over to Williams College. Eventually, they were brought back. The headstone went in front of the Fort Massachusetts reconstruction. No one knows where it is today. No one knows what happened to his skeleton, except that the
bone with the
vertebra with the French musket ball embedded between them were preserved as an antiquity until a certain someone, who shall remain nameless, decided to bury them in Soldier Circle in Hillside.
Which, of course, did they bury him up there finally?
Yes.
Yeah, because there was a lot
just
of
the vertebra
discrepancy.
with
Yeah.
the musket ball.
There
Not
was
even, yeah, I mean,
a lot of
if they'd-
discrepancy because he was not an American soldier.
That's right. But also, if they had saved the musket ball, it could have become the jewel of the North Adams collection.
Yeah, well, don't talk about the North Adams collection because I can remember everything that was at Old Fort Massachusetts when it was still a Old Fort Massachusetts, and
Now,
put everything up
hold
to
that
the
thought,
library
because
for
we
next
only
year.
have 18 seconds left. Thank you very much for joining us here on Porch Talk, and be sure to join us again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And I forget what date that is off the top of my head, but we will be here, and we will be willing to take your calls. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.
So we can